Okay, I'm on YouTube. Now I'm going to get on Facebook. I'm learning. I do YouTube first because it often glitches and won't go live for some reason. Okay, so I was just talking to YouTube. I'm not going to close my door even though I live downtown and it's loud, but it's just too hot. So just waiting for people to turn up. Oh, I've got one person here on YouTube. I'm on at a very weird time, so I'm assuming I won't. It's probably Sunday night dinner for most people. So yeah, we'll see. But anyway, thought I'd come on anyway. Just a sec here. So I'm just waiting for people to turn up. Oh, not one person left. That's fine. Usually get pretty busy on my social media. YouTube's my slowest platform. Social media ones are pretty big. Okay, hello, welcome to my live. While we're waiting, I'd love to know where you're from. I'm here in Vancouver, Canada. It's a very hot day. I had to leave my sliding door open. It's going to be noisy, but it's just too hot. And I never get too hot to warrant air conditioning. Not in Canada. When I lived in Australia, we had it. Anyway, I'm just rambling on. So anyway, where are you from? What part of the world are you from? What country? What city? So where are you from? I'm here in Vancouver, Canada. My daughter's just wrapping up her corporate job this week. She's got 3 more days, and then she's with me full time, working with me. I'm very excited. Very excited. Okay, so where are you from? I'm just yabbering on while I'm waiting for people to turn up. Reading, is it Reading, Pennsylvania? Or I think it's Reading, isn't it? Even though it's spelled Reading. So I'm not sure. I think I've heard that. Okay. Okay, Indiana. Hi, Indiana. Yes, Reading. Oh, okay. I lived where I lived in Brisbane, in Australia. There's a road called RODE, and it's actually road. So they call it Roadie Road. It's a really main street too. New Zealand, that's where we used to ski when we lived in Australia, down in Queenstown. Ontario, Canada. Fort Myers, Florida. Tucson, Arizona. Welcome, everyone. Texas. I'm hoping to get to Texas soon. I'm just determined to get there. I don't know why. I feel like Texas is calling my name. I don't know why. So my daughter and I, she works with me. We are planning a trip down there hopefully soon. Big fan here from Michigan. Hi, Michigan. Welcome. Okay, let's get going. My name's Lisa. Hi, Wales. My name's Lisa, and Freeport, Illinois, Algeria. Oh, hi, Algeria. I think I have a client in Algeria. Puyallup, Washington. The only reason I know how to pronounce that is because I live nearby in Vancouver, Canada. Victoria. So is it Melbourne or just Australia? New York. Now, is that Connecticut? It's not Cincinnati. Cincinnati is CN, isn't it? Chilliwack, BC. Oh, we've got a local here. Okay. Sorry, I was just reading where you're from. I love that. I could just do a whole live just reading where everyone's from. I find it fascinating. Okay, so my name's Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. If you go on the link above, you can see my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp course, or you can look into coaching. Okay, so let's get going with your questions. Oh, it was Connecticut. Okay, because California CA, Cincinnati CN, and Connecticut CT. Okay, got it. Yeah, I got that right, didn't I? Okay. Texas. Hi, Texas. I had no idea you're in Chilliwack. I'm in Vancouver, but Chilliwack's sort of nearby. I live, do you know where Science World is in downtown Vancouver? I live around the water there, right downtown. Okay, so let's get going with your parenting questions. I'm going to read out I just like to sort of throw in information on here when I'm waiting for questions or whatever. These are my top 5 tips for parenting toddlers. I am working on something for toddlers, by the way. But anyway, these are my top 5 tips for now. So Number 1, child-proof your home so you never have to say no. Number 2, set up a toy rotation system so they're never bored. Number 3 is when you want to connect with a toddler, you do so in their world. You don't go to the nail salon with them. You go to the park and roll down the hill with them. They start to look at you differently when you know how to enter their world. Number 4 is similar. When you want to discipline a toddler, you do so in their world. They're not about words. They're about actions. Don't do those mini therapy sessions discussing all their big feelings and big emotions. That's for you. That's not for your toddler. They're about actions. You use consistent corrective actions right in the moment. You got to be present with this. It's got to be right. They got to be able to connect the dots. And then number 5 is stop trying to figure them out. Toddlers are not figure outable. They're brand new, fresh human beings. They're just forming. Okay. So I always call them crazy, but it's just that they haven't developed sanity yet. Oklahoma City. Hello. You watch my videos all the time. That's really sweet. I find, to be honest, most of the clients who are coming my way these days, or a lot of them, is referrals. Their friends, because they'll say, what's going on with your family? How come everything seems so, you seem so much happier? Huge portion of my clients these days have been through referrals. So, and that's the best. I don't have to explain anything. They have already talked. Like, it's just so much easier for me because their friends or family have already told them how this all goes. It makes it a lot easier for me. I hate wasting time discussing things that aren't moving us forward. I'm solution-based when I'm coaching. I get obsessed with it. So I hate having to explain stuff. 3-year-old that refuses to let me brush her hair without a big struggle. Any thoughts? That's actually one that I used recently with a family. And every single time they had to brush their daughter's hair. And the mom said it didn't matter how much detangler, how gentle I was being. She put up a giant stink. So I said, from now on, just make sure you're not hurting her, though. So from now on, put down on the behavior board, no fussing during getting your hair done. And it worked a charm. So give it a go. Check out the behavior board. The behavior board's completely free. Then you can go up to the boot camp course, or you can look into coaching. That's how it goes. But the behavior board's free. So I don't know why I said it like that. Figure outable, yeah. I wasn't going to announce this, and I'm not, but I am working on something for toddlers. I always swore I never would, but I get far too many questions about toddlers. I have to address it. I am working on something for toddlers or parents of toddlers. It's just, I always say that whenever I'm asked questions about toddlers, my response is usually just, yeah, they're nuts. So, there's a little bit more to it, but anyway. 14-month-old, is there a way to help him start learning patience? No, not at 14 months old. No. He's still a baby. They're babies till they're 15 months. And even then they don't really start to learn patience till they're about 3, 4, 34, that's a slow burn. They can start to learn how to behave themselves. There's a difference. Doesn't mean that they have patience. They just learn how to behave themselves. But even don't expect too much from a 14-month-old. 3-year-old who does well with bedtime until I close her door. She will then scream. Do you need to close her door? Why are you closing her door? Allow her to get up and walk out. Allow her to get up and walk out. That's part of, check out my bedtime battles course. That explains that. Like, you want them to be able to get out of bed and that you can walk them back to bed. So don't maybe try not closing her door. I've got clients who've actually locked doors, like they'll lock children in the room. I would never do that. This is a horrible thing to say, but what if something happened to you guys and you were incapacitated or something happened to you and that kid would be locked in a room? I just would never do it. And plus, I don't like that kind of control. That's fear-based control. When you start locking kids in rooms, that's fear-based parenting. I have no fear of a kid getting up because I know how to deal with it. Check out my bedtime battles course. It explains how you do that. Okay, you didn't put down the age. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, they're 2 years old. Twin A stealing twin B's toys. You can get them duplicate toys, or as soon as they take a toy away, you say no, hand it back to the other twin, and anything else that twin might be holding. You got to do it 50 to 100 times before they're actually going to learn, though. It's tough. It's a tough one because they're only 2. Yeah, a lot of moms seem to think they're toddlers. I don't usually judge like this, but it's very true. A lot of moms seem to think their toddlers are supposed to have it together. They don't. Someone wrote, boy, did I ever dive on them. It was on one of my lives. Was it in a live? I'm pretty sure it was in a live. And they said, I think it was. Anyway, and they said, my toddler hits and has no remorse. And I'm like, yeah, what's your question? Like, toddlers don't have remorse. Yeah, and don't expect them to have empathy either. They kind of go hand in hand. So yeah, they're not there yet. So there's nothing wrong with toddlers. Your expectations of them is the problem. You've helped me so much with my grands. Excellent. I don't teach grandparenting, but a lot of stuff obviously, works. But I never teach anything other than parenting, because if I was to give advice to someone and then the parents didn't like it, see where I'm going? I only teach parenting, because you're the leader, and I don't say that anyone else should be the leader. Nothing wrong with that as long as the parents are okay with it. What about a 4-year-old not doing something you asked the first time and not listening? That is a tell. It means that they don't respect you. It means that you're not a leader. Remember, we're never fixing kids here. We're teaching parents. Set up your leadership skills and that won't happen. They listen to leaders. They just do. It's a natural thing. So check out the boot camp course. It goes from 3 to 12 years old, and it's all about you and your leadership. Okay. That's just a tell. They don't respect. Why would they listen to someone they don't respect? Doesn't make any sense. So yeah, you got to work on yourself. Like whenever I was working with kids, and if I got some snarky comment or something from a troubled teenager I was working with, I always thought, this is what I always thought, and these weren't even my kids. I always thought, what am I doing wrong here? What am I missing? Leaders take responsibility for children and teenagers. You take responsibility for them. Those weren't even my kids, but I thought, what am I missing here? What am I doing wrong? So I always took responsibility for their behavior. Otherwise, what are you going to do? If you're not going to take responsibility, if you're going to blame your kids, how could I help you? I can't. Yeah, it's all you. I just teach parenting here. I don't teach kidding or teenagering or toddlering. I teach parenting. You lead, they will follow. It's a natural instinct for a child to look for a leader. It just is. If you're not a leader for your children at home and you send them out to school or to the world, they're going to be very vulnerable, very susceptible to peer pressure, bullying, the drug dealer on the corner, the internet, the Kardashians. You get what I'm saying? They're going to naturally, instinctively go looking for a leader elsewhere. You want that to be you. And they listen to leaders. I would never repeat myself. They don't listen the first time. There's a consequence. That's on them. That's their responsibility. But I have to earn that respect. It's your job to earn that. Just get up and redirect them to their bed every time they get up. That's Nicole Warner. Did you get the course? Did you get the bedtime course? It's pretty much what it is. You don't look at them or talk to them, though. The first 2 times you do, but then after that, you don't. It can go for hours that you're putting them back to bed. Hi, why ignore? Oh God, I can feel myself. A lecture coming on. Oh God, I have to swallow it down. Gulp. Okay. Why ignore a toddler while tantruming instead of helping him regulate his emotions? You cannot regulate someone else's emotions. You cannot help a toddler regulate their emotions. It's impossible. They have to learn how to regulate their emotions. You mean you're trying to micromanage a toddler? You're trying to give in to whatever they want? Any attention is tantrum food. You're not helping them learn how to process that all on their own. Check out my tantrum course if you're interested. Yeah, I don't think you're going to like me. You might want to move somewhere else. You're not going to like me. If you want to have the therapy sessions with the toddler, you're not going to like me. I don't do that at all. Because it's patronizing. It's not for them, it's for you. Okay. Oh yeah, I don't answer daycare questions because I only teach parenting, and a huge portion of my clients are teachers, principals, child psychologists, but it's for their kids. I couldn't do their jobs. Anything else, daycare, schools, that's all business. It's not a personal relationship. Parenting is personal. I only know about personal relationships. I mothered all the kids I've worked with. It's just one-on-one mothering. So that's all I teach is parenting. Okay. But I'll give you a little hint. I've already forgotten your name. You can ask me a question and tell me it's your kid. I won't know the difference. Doesn't mean that I'm condoning that, but a lot of people do that. I found out someone did hire me and they said it was for their own kids. It wasn't. It was for a client this person was working with. No, I haven't, but I've wanted to check out your course for a while. That was the bedtime one. Yeah. Okay. Well, if you already know what to do, you don't need the course, right? Okay. Okay, I'm just going to look. What do you think of a 4-year-old? This is on, I like this one. It's from Colorado, Erica on YouTube. What do you think of a 4-year-old who won't answer people who greet her? She responds silly nonsense things like goblin. I think that's rude. I would have a consequence. If use your manners when people are greeting you, or there's a consequence. Okay, so yeah, she's 4 years old. Use the behavior board. Check it out. It's completely free. If you're on YouTube, it's in the description. I've just got one link, I think. I don't know. I don't do my social media, so I don't know. Anyway, so check out the behavior board and put down, be polite when people are greeting, or when greeting people. Yeah, name calling is not appropriate. Okay, I'm going to read out. I always got all these notes down here, and I'm always trying to get to them, and I never seem to. I've got a whole bunch of stuff. I just like to pass this stuff on to you because it's stuff that comes up in coaching a lot. Yeah, because when I'm doing these lives, it's just all discipline, because that's all people ever ask me about. That's not what I'm about at all. When I'm coaching people in like one-on-one client coaching, we discipline. Yeah, we do discuss it, but it's mostly about connecting with your kids. How do you connect with kids? Yeah, how do you connect with them to get respect? So, but anyway, okay. This is something that's parents ask me this all the time. Our kids are killing each other, the sibling rivalry, they're fighting all the time. When you're a leader, they don't fight. Do you know why? Makes perfect sense. Do you know why? When kids have a leader as a parent, they very rarely will fight. Why would that be? Because most fighting is a feeling of being there's unfairness or injustices in their life, or favoritism. It's all woe is me. It's sort of sympathy, but it's sort of self-pitying based. When you're a leader, they don't feel any of that. They know how to take care of business. They trust you to take care of business. They don't need to fight because they know you're going to make sure there's no injustices. If they're not agreeing on something, they can come to you and say, look, here's what we're doing, and it's not working out. And then I would say, okay, here's what we're going to do. I know how to solve that problem. So yeah, when you're a leader, your kids don't fight. It's rare. Okay, I thought this was clear. I should look at the course to make sure, but then often I do, and it is, and you maybe just didn't see it, but I'm going to check it now. On the behavior board, when we do the second week on your boot camp course, do we add a rule or replace the rule we had from week 1? It's a new rule. You're going to have 3 different behavior boards, and it's week 1 is one rule, week 2 is a different rule, week 3 is a different rule. You're going to have 3 different rules, 3 sort of what I call battles that you're going to be dealing with. So yeah, but it should be clear. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's clear. I think I've looked at that before. So they're different. The reason why some people get the course mixed up too, I'm not saying this is you, but sometimes they just maybe read it wrong, or it might be English might be their second language. So I get a lot of that too, where people say they didn't understand it but then they can have it translated or whatever. But yeah, and your rule can be the same. It's only the kids' rule the only thing that needs to change from week to week is the kids' rules. Parents, yours can stay the same. They don't usually notice. If the kids notice, then say, fine, what do you want our rule to be? You can even ask them if they're like 5, 6 and over. High conflict parents. Can behavior board work if only one parent is doing it? Absolutely. They only need one leader. What ends up happening is the other parent, I get this a lot actually, dads don't want to be involved. Dads are fixers. It kind of hits them in the knackers that someone has to be hired to fix their family. That's how a lot of dads take it that way. Others don't. But some do. They get very, they find me a threat or something. I don't know why. I'm just old lady sitting here. But anyway, so yeah, what happens though is they see the relationship between the mom and the kids is getting great, and they want in on it. So they usually come on board later. Usually by week 3 or 4, they'll come on board. Once they start to see you getting respect and becoming friends with your kids and having a great time with them, then they usually get on board. That's what I found anyway. I've got a cute story, but I think I told it once, and then I thought, no, that was a little bit, kind of made the dad look bad, but I didn't mean it to be that way, but he really didn't want to be a part of it. And then he came into one of the meetings and he said, I'm in, but I don't want to say too much about that. It's happened many times, so I'm generalizing, but it was something specific had happened and it brought him on board, So yeah, once they see you starting to become the leader, they usually want to get in on it. How do I get my 5-year-old to be okay with not getting what he wants? Who cares if he's okay with it? Yeah, just let him have a fit. Let him have it. I think you're afraid of him. You're trying to avoid the scenes, the fits, the tantrums, the meltdowns. Don't let him have that. But be consistent. When you say no, mean it. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Check out my boot camp course. That might be a good fit for you. We're not teaching children to like doing homework, to like doing chores, to like not getting what they want. It's just we're teaching them how to be accountable and make good choices, that they can't always get what they want. Doesn't mean they have to be okay with it or even like it, but they can't be rude about it. They just have to accept it. But that doesn't mean that they like it or they're really okay with it. But yeah, I'm thinking you're the pleaser. What if you ignore the toddler tantrum, but it'll literally last 30 minutes? The longest I ever heard was 4.5 hours. So yeah, 30 minutes is common. Parents can be the same. They can both be leaders. There's usually one clear leader, though. There's usually one that trumps the other, usually. And it's the one who enjoys it the most. I loved all this stuff. I love it. So yeah, my ex-husband was definitely the pleaser. I was the leader. That's usually the way it goes. And there's nothing wrong with that. The pleaser defers to the leader. If the pleaser doesn't know how to handle the kids, but usually if there's a leader in the house past the age of 3.5 to 4, the kids are respectful with everybody. They carry the leadership umbrella everywhere they go. They treat everyone with respect. So, but when they were really little, they definitely would push their dad around a bit more. Not if I was in the room, but if I wasn't around. And then he would just say, do you want me to tell mom? That would be all it would take. I never even did anything. So that's what my son said, why were we so afraid of you? You never did anything. I said, that was respect. I said, yeah, just threaten them with me. I remember once they were trying to push their dad around. They were in the other room and I could hear it. And I said, do you want me to come in there? I heard 3. No. You got a 4-year-old hurting themselves during a tantrum. Yeah, they're just trying to manipulate you, but you don't want them to get a concussion. So physically restrain them when they're hurting themselves, hurting someone else, or damaging property. Just hold them for a minute or two and then let go. If they go to hit themselves again, hold. You don't look at them or talk to them. You don't need to. It's all these conversations, all this explaining yourself. It's not a leader. It makes you look like I have to explain myself. It makes you look weak. You don't have to explain yourself. Doesn't mean they're going to like it. They'll try and pull you in. What are you doing? What are you doing? I wouldn't explain that. Okay. I like to read out just things that I have written down here. Time is it? Oh, I got to get going soon. Anyway, something that I see a lot of is most parents overpraise and underplay. There's nothing wrong with praise, but it doesn't get good behavior, by the way. When I've got a child psychologist as a client, they will argue that with me. Praise does get good behavior, and I say, bull crap. No, praise does not get good behavior. And that's the way I believe anyway. So yeah, but play does. Connect with your kids. Play with them in their world. You're more likely to get the best out of them by connecting with them and bonding with them, not by praising them. Let's say you got a little 5-year-old, and you're just said to this little 5-year-old, your little 5-year-old son, you say, you're so smart, you're good looking, you're clever, you can do whatever you want. I'm just so proud of you. Okay, I'm going to go wash the dishes. Look at that kid. That's his face. Now you say to that same kid, hey, what are you doing? Can I play too? Watch the difference. Watch the difference. What's the difference? Praise or play? What's more powerful? Praise is overrated. Parents tend to overuse it. It's okay, but they'd rather you play with them. There's nothing more flattering than your parent getting down on the floor. There's nothing that raises their self-esteem more than a parent getting down on the floor and playing with them in their world. Being praised just doesn't do it for them. Boy, I wish someone would argue with me about that. I'd love to argue that one. People don't fight with me as much. It's not as much fun. Whatever. But yeah, I see where you're coming from, but praise is good. There's nothing wrong with it, but it doesn't get you results or anything. You can throw out the praise if you want, but there's nothing that makes a kid feel better than when you get down the floor and play with them in their world. Nothing. Has been potty training for a month now. 2.5-year-old still won't tell me when he has to go. Have you got the potty training course? So yeah, I can't answer that. If you haven't used my method, I can't help you. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, I've been trying this diet and it's not working. Well, if it's not my diet, how would I be able to help you? If you're not using my method, I couldn't help you. So I do have a potty training course if you're interested. It's one of my mini courses if you're interested. Okay. Oh, well, this is such an easy answer, but like, should I even bother? Yeah, okay. It's on YouTube. My 2-year-old sleeps from 11 p.m. to 10 a.m. It used to work well, but our jobs, it's not working anymore. Just change it by a half hour at a time. So instead of them going to bed at 11, have them 10:30, then 10. Then, you get the idea. Do it gradually. Or wake them up earlier, too. Don't let them sleep till 10. Wake them up at 9 or whatever. Okay, I'm going to move over to Instagram now. If you want to join me over there, it's Bratbusters Parenting. If not, check out the link above. You can get my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp course, or you can look into coaching. If not, yeah, you can join me over. I'm also on YouTube the whole time. Whenever I do a live, I'm filming it on YouTube, and that's where it's saved. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me, and I'm over to Instagram now. Bye now. Got all my windows open. I live downtown. That's why it's so noisy. It's just too hot to have it all closed up. Okay. So I'm on Instagram and YouTube. Erica said, your advice is angelic. I never thought of myself as angelic. Thanks. Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, got a good turnout here. I didn't expect many people to turn up at this time. It's a very weird time for me to be on here. It's the only time I had. Okay, Utah. Hi, Utah. This may be a sensitive issue, but I've got a lot of clients in Utah. Some are Mormons, some are Latter-day Saints. Are they the same? I thought they were the same. But some call themselves Mormons and others call themselves Latter-day Saints. I've got a lot of clients, and it's more Latter-day Saints. Are they the same, or do you even know? I get Egypt. Hi, Egypt. I think I've got a client in Egypt right now. I don't have any clients in Ireland. I love the Irish accent. Hi, Florida. Australia. Hi, Australia. I'm half Australian. Oh, Mormons are Latter-day Saints. Why? Someone said, oh, no, we're not Mormons anymore. So I'm just trying to be politically correct here. So not that people expect me to. They know that's not my style. I'm genuinely interested. Am I saying it wrong? Is it all LAS? Anyway, LSA. Okay, Virginia, Dublin, Canada, New Zealand. I'm in Canada. LDS, United States Mormons. Okay. Oh, okay. Because I've got lots of family who are Mormons, and they call themselves Mormons. Okay. Sweden. Hi, Sweden. London, UK, Norway. I'm half Norwegian, half French and half Norwegian. Michigan. I always thought I was Irish. I'm adopted, and I was told I was half French and half Irish. My parents just got it wrong. And I celebrated St. Patty's Day with a little bit of the Irish in me. Turns out I got none in me. It's funny. They could have told me I was anything, and I would have believed it, You don't know. Doesn't matter anyway. We're all... I always say I can't stand prejudice. I just think it's just so ridiculous. It's so ignorant. But anyway, I always say, what would really bring us all together as one across the world is if aliens ever invaded us. Wouldn't we all be best buddies? Not that I want that. I want us to be friends, but I don't want the alien stuff. Arkansas. I think I had a client in Arkansas. Chino Hills, California. I've heard of it, but I don't know where that is. New York or here? Okay, so let's get going with your parenting questions. Okay, you got a triplet, and one of them, I've worked with triplets, and one of them gets up at 4 a.m. every night. It causes no disruption, but feeling guilty for not sending her back to a room. If it doesn't bother you, don't worry about it. It's not something that you need to fix. If it's not broken, don't fix it. That's like sometimes parents will say, "Do you believe in co-sleeping?" and that, and they say, "Well, is it working for you?" And they go, "Yeah." I say, "Well, then, what's the problem?" Those are the gray areas. Those are the personal choices. Those are the personal preferences. So there's no right or wrong with that. Co-sleeping, Montessori, homeschooling, religion. It's all personal choice stuff, and that's one of those. Montana, Arizona. Oh, LDS is more, okay, there you go. More politically correct. I'll tell my cousins they should be calling themselves that. I don't think they care. I don't know. Calgary. Hi, Calgary. I've been there many times when I was a kid. London. I guess that's not London, Ontario. That would be London, London. Okay. They're trying to rebrand. Oh, okay. It's just a lot longer to say that, isn't it? Okay, I see. Okay. I'll try and remember that. I think I'll start with Latter-day Saints instead of, because they usually bring it up. I don't bring it up. I don't care about religion. It's none of my business, but they usually bring it up. Toledo, Ohio. Toledo. I'm in Vancouver. Dallas, California. Okay, what's the best way to keep an adult from getting mad at a 4-year-old having tantrums? I can't help you control yourself. That's your job. I can't help you. Like, that's up to you. Parents ask me this, how do I do this when I can't control my own emotions? That's on you. That's not something I can help you do. You understand that? Like, that's on you. You just have to have faith that it will work. It'll pay off in the long run. Short-term pain for long-term gain. But I can't help an adult control their emotions. That's none of my business. That's your problem. That's your responsibility. I can't give you any advice. Yeah. It's like I used to teach fitness, and they'd say, "Well, how do I get myself to the gym?" And I said, "Well, that's your job. That's not mine. Like, do you want me to come pick you up?" Like, I never quite knew how to answer that. Well, help me get myself to the gym. I can't help you with that. Once you're here, I can help you get fit, but I can't help you get here. It's kind of like that. Okay, you got a 3-year-old who's hitting. Well, have you used the behavior board? No hitting is a consequence. If they get 24-hour media blackout, they're probably going to stop hitting. So yeah, check out the behavior board. That is the example. I'm all sweaty. That's the example that I use on my behavior board, which is completely free. My daughter's 5 and sleeps in our bed, throws a big fit. And I guess if you're trying to get her out of your bed, she throws a fit. Anyway, check out my bedtime battles course. It's a whole system, how to get them in bed and then how to keep them there. Getting them in bed is easy. Keeping them there is the hard part. So yeah, it's usually one night of hell. It's by far my most successful method that I use. In everything I teach, the bedtime battles is the most successful method of anything I teach. I kind of know why, but it just is. Yeah. All my clients say it works. I have no memory of a client saying it didn't work. Or if it didn't, there was some reason they were just not quite doing it right or something. But yeah, check out my bedtime battles course. It's one of my mini courses. Nonstop potty talk. If they're 3 and over, put down no bad words or no rude words. And then there's a consequence. We all learn through consequences. Don't just say, no, you shouldn't say that. Who cares? It's like if the cop yells out at me as I'm speeding by, you shouldn't speed. I'd go, see you later. If he's going to pull me over and give me a ticket, there's a consequence. That's what keeps us all in line. If we don't pay our taxes, we could go to jail. If we don't pay our mortgage, our home could be foreclosed on. Stuff like that. It's all about consequences. Life's about consequences. The sooner your children learn this, the better. Oh, I have to scroll. Oh my goodness. I have to scroll through because I like to make sure people are still here when I answer their questions. So I do skip through a lot of questions. Any quick potty training tips that are less obvious? I've read the books. Well, I've never written one, so I can't tell you. I do have a whole system, though. I can't tell you one tip. It's like lose weight by eating watermelon. Forget about the rest of the stuff. It's like, you know what I mean? It's a system. So yeah, I can't help you. Check out the potty training course. I can't give you one tip that's going to fix it. The behavior board starts at the age of 3. At the age of 3, their frontal lobe is starting to develop. It's just like a little piece of tumbleweed up until then. But yeah, at age of 3, they're able to stop and think before they act. They have the ability to stop and think before they act. Doesn't mean they will, but they have the ability to learn to stop and think before they act. So it's 3 years old. Autism, no, I only discuss autism in coaching. That's more of a specialty, so I don't generalize with autism. But lots of my clients have kids with autism, and they say this stuff works with them too. Just depends where on the spectrum they are. Some kids with autism, they have very specific things that are blocks. But I don't know. If you think that you might want to check out my boot camp course, that might be a good fit. But generally, I always say that would be one-on-one coaching. It's more of a specialty. I like to throw in the odd thing here. Because parents just ask me about discipline, but that's a tiny part of what I do. It's more about connecting with your kids and really understanding them. One thing that I told my kids, I told them, never be proud of how you look or how smart you are. Those are gifts that you were born with. Be grateful for those things, but never take pride in them. Take pride in how you treat people, how you act, what you do, what you say, but never take pride in natural born gifts that you can't take any credit for. But a lot of parents tend to try to build up kids based on things that they haven't earned. And I don't think you're not setting them up with good morals if you do that. You're so smart, you're so good looking, and that makes them feel special. But it's okay to say those things, but focus more on what they do and how they treat people. So it's about values. Those are the more superficial values. Yeah. Oh, how do you get an 18-month-old to sit while eating, not in a high chair? Why are they not in a high chair? My kids are in a high chair. So yeah, you're kind of setting them up for failure if you have an 18-month-old not in a high chair. You're not doing them any favors. Yeah, it's too young, I think. How do I get my 5-year-old to stop saying no or I don't want to everything I tell him to do? Your 5-year-old just doesn't respect you. We're never fixing kids here. We're teaching parents. Work on your leadership skills, and they don't talk to you like that. He just doesn't respect you. That's all. You got to earn that. Don't expect him to listen to you if you're not a leader. If you haven't earned that respect, you got to earn it. You got to work for it. You got to deserve it. Don't just say you should respect me because I'm your parent. That's ridiculous. You got to earn that. I work my butt off to get respect with kids. It's easy for me now because I know how to do it, but I had to figure all this out. I was 11 when I figured this out. I started volunteering in daycare centers because I always was mother. I was a little mother. And I was 11 and I started volunteering in daycare centers. And the daycare ladies, I remember them asking me, how do you do that? The kids listen to you, but they want to be with you too. They couldn't figure out how I mix fun with discipline and respect. But yeah, it's leadership. I lead with fun, but I don't take any crap. So I address bad behavior, but I focus on the good kid. That's the pool story. Check that out. It's the very first video here. It's called Example of Leadership Parenting, and it's the pool story. It just synopsizes everything I think about parenting. It's you deal with bad behavior, but then you focus on the good kid. Too many parents are focusing on the bad behavior and almost making it the kid's identity. Plus, you don't discuss bad behavior. Once it's done, the consequence, it's over. Parents keep rubbing it in, wanting to discuss it. Oh, God, I could go on about that one. Should I? I think I will a little bit. A lot of parents will do this. They'll have a really bad day with their child, okay? Their child's just acting up all day. So then the next day, the child is good. Do you know what a lot of parents do? Oh, we're having such a better day. Yesterday was bad. Remember you did this? They want to bring up what the kid did yesterday. It's just bullying. It's mean. Don't bring that up. Why do you need to do that? A lot of parents do that. I know it's because they're mad and they're resentful that their kids put them through hell, but don't do that. You're not doing them any favor or yourselves. That's not how a leader wouldn't do that. That's not a leader. That's more in the bullying department. Can you give example of consequences other than 24-hour media blackout? Oh, just take something that they like and use every single day away for 24 hours. Yeah, there must be something that they like and play with every single day, but don't take away anything that they love, like a cushy that they sleep with, a plushie, something that is love, like comfort. Don't take that away. Okay. Okay, I don't have any advice on this, but I'll just tell you how it worked out for me. Do you have advice on spacing kids out? We're trying to plan when to have our second. I always sort of thought a couple of years would be a good idea, but I really am glad it didn't work out that way. I was pregnant. I lost it. They would have been 2 years apart. And it was multiples too. I miscarried multiples. And then I think I had back surgery first, and then I miscarried. I can't remember which order. So I ended up having 5 years between my two kids. I would have planned it that way had I known. You know why? My son started grade 1. I loved just being with my son. It was just the two of us. We got to bond. It was his dad was there too, but he worked. I was a stay-at-home mom. So I got to bond just with my son. Then he goes off to school, and then I had a newborn. So I had all that time with her too. It spaced it out because I love mothering, and it dragged it out a bit more because I loved it. So, and plus I got all that one-on-one time with each kid. So he starts grade 1 and I got a newborn. It was perfect. So yeah, and there is no perfect thing. That just worked out for me because I did want to stretch it out because I love mothering. So it worked out beautifully. But there is no perfect, thing. Some parents might not like that. They might think I wanted to get it all over with. So. Okay. Do you make kids apologize to other kids or siblings? Yes and no. It's not the be all and end all. You might want to do that in addition to the consequence. Saying sorry, they're just going to do it again. It means nothing to them. Saying the word sorry, they're just going to continue doing whatever they were doing. There's no lesson learned in saying sorry. None. They don't care. So yeah, you can have them apologize if you want, but it's the consequences that are the lesson. Okay, I'm only going to read this out because I have no idea what you're talking about. Do you have an opinion on elimination communication? Nope, I don't even know what that is. Never heard of it. Okay. Any suggestions on how to stop toddler biting? Toddlers are not about words, they're about consistent corrective actions. And I do have a course called Toddlers Who Hit, Bite, Etc. It's one of my mini toddler courses if you're interested. You got an 18-month-old who's throwing his food from the table. What you do is you don't give him a lot of food to start with if you know he's going to do that. And then as soon as he throws it, you say no, you pick it up, throw it away, and then you hand feed him. He may be mad as anything because he doesn't want to be hand fed. Fine, say, okay, you're all done. Clean him up and put him down. And then you just finish your meal. And then maybe a half hour later, you sit him up and you offer the same food again. But wait a minute. Yeah, let him do it again. See if he throws it. If he throws it, do the whole process again. So hand feed him. They usually don't like that. If he likes being hand fed, some people say, well, they love being hand fed. I don't want to sit and hand feed him. So what I do is I get slow and stupid. So if they want to be hand fed all the time, I get real slow and stupid. Oops, dropped it. Oh, well, here you go. Oh, wait a minute. Did I make that call? And then they're just going to get fed up and start feeding themselves again. Yeah, get real slow and stupid when you're hand feeding. They don't want to wait for that. How do you deal with a 4-year-old who's commenting about body parts in an insulting way? So yes, just say no rude comments on the behavior board and there's a consequence. Remember, consequences, that's where all the lessons are. You don't have the little therapy sessions. You don't do the lecturing. Parents do that all the time. I explained why you don't do that, and he still does it. Yeah, why wouldn't he? It's the consequences is where the lessons are. Yeah, check it out. Check out the behavior board. That explains that. It would be like a cop said to me, now you know why you shouldn't sail through stop signs and speed down the freeway. Yeah, I know. But anyway, see you later. Not to say I would, but you know what I mean. You get what I'm saying. It's the consequences. Now, you should pay your taxes. Nothing will ever happen to you if you don't. You can keep all that income for yourself, but you should pay taxes, right? It's the consequences. It's the accountability. That's what keeps us doing the right thing. So why should your kids be any different? How do you become a leader? Check out my boot camp course that teaches you how to be a leader in 5 weeks. They have to be 3 to 12 years old, though. I'm going to tell you a cute story. One of my clients, it's one of my favorite stories with a client. Oh, I love coaching is my favorite thing to do. I don't need to coach anymore. It's not what I need to do, but I love it. I think I always say I might quit coaching because that's not where our business really is focused anymore. But I love it, and I just love the clients. This is one of my favorite stories. I thought this was so cute. I've said it a million times, but it's worth repeating if you're new, especially. It was one of my clients. They had an 8-year-old little girl, and she was they said to me in the very first session, she's very bright. And everyone says that. So I'm like, oh, okay. Anyway, it was about the second week. And you know what she said? Because she told that you always tell your kids that they've hired me. So she knew that, there was this lady that they were listening to. Anyway, she decided she didn't want that behavior board anymore. So I've never heard a kid do this before. She said to her parents, you guys are wonderful parents. You don't need that lady anymore. And then she took down the behavior board. They put it back up and said, yes, we do. I've never heard of a child buttering up their parents to get rid of me. I thought that was the cutest thing. And I used to see them every Friday morning, and I just couldn't wait. It's like, what did she say now? She came up with the funniest thing. She was a really clever little thing, but just she knew how to work systems. But we figured it out. I thought that was so cute. If you've got someone, I'm not going to go into this, but you've got someone else lecturing your kids on how you should be parenting or whatever, just say, please don't undermine my parenting. It hurts my feelings. If someone doesn't respect that, they're a lost cause. You can't fix them. So, yeah. Well, I'm just trying to help. I said you're hurting my feelings, but my intentions are good. That's passive aggressive crap. Yeah. It's not intentions. If once you say you're hurting my feelings, if they continue to do that, that's on them. That's showing that they're, reward chart. Nope. I don't like them at all. Can't stand reward charts. They're right up there with timeout. I hate timeout, hate reward charts. I just got a video coming out. My daughter sends me all the emails, or an email coming out. She sends me all the emails to look at. I rarely ever change anything on them. Like, she's really good at all that stuff, but it's on reward charts. And if you're signed up, you'll see what I say about that. But basically a reward chart for good behavior, baseline. My baseline is good behavior. Why would I reward for that? As if they're normally rotten? Normally you're rotten, but if you should happen to be good, you'll get a gold star. It's sending the wrong message. But if you have a behavior board, it says you're normally wonderful, but if you should happen to mess up, I know how to deal with it. That's the difference. I would never reward for good behavior. That's just my baseline. That's just what I expect, right? And schools use them. That's not home. That's not parenting. Huge portion of my clients are teachers. Huge. Reward charts work beautifully at school. School is a business. It's an institution. It's not personal. Plus, there's 30 kids on that reward chart. They don't take it personally. At home, it's different. So, yeah, not everything crosses over. Like, I've got clients who say, I'm a principal. I run a whole school, piece of cake, but I got 2 little kids that are driving me insane. It's personal. It's different. It's different. Yeah, I don't. Timeout alternative. Everything else I'm talking about. Check out the behavior board with under the age of 3, it's consistent corrective actions. What doesn't work about timeout? Timeouts are just humiliating. They're shaming children. They learn nothing. They sit in the corner and feel like crap. I think they're so mean. I can't stand it. I couldn't stand seeing a kid sit in a corner feeling like garbage. You go sit, you're not even worth talking to. You go sit over there and you think about what you did. I think it's horrible. I would never do a timeout. There's no lesson learned. All they're doing is learning that they're a piece of garbage. That's how they feel. How would you feel if you made a mistake at work and your boss said, you go sit in that corner for 30 minutes, you think about what you did? It's the exact same feeling. It's humiliating. It's shaming you. Yeah. Anyway. Okay, I got to move on to TikTok now. If you want to join me over there, it's Bratbusters Parenting. If not, check out the link above. You can get my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp course, or you can look into coaching. So I've got to run. Thanks so much for joining me. And I'm on YouTube the whole time, which is where my lives are saved. Okay, I'm heading over to TikTok. Bye now. Come on, TikTok. Okay. I'm on TikTok now. I'm just waiting for everyone to turn up. I kind of have to take a break from talking sometimes, so I don't know how to pace my voice out. Okay. Just waiting for people to turn up. Hope your day is great. Yeah, my day is great. How's yours? I'm here in Vancouver, by the way. Where are you guys from? What part of the world are you in? I'm in Vancouver, Canada. There's two Vancouvers. There's one, well, there might be more, but I only know of two. One's Vancouver, Washington in the United States, and the other one is Vancouver, British Columbia, in Canada, where I am. Houston, Texas, Sweden, San Diego. My daughter and I, we work together. She works in my business, and well, she's a partner really. And anyway, we're hoping to get to Texas on a business thing soon. I want to go to Austin, Dallas, and Houston. North Carolina in the U.S. Well, where is there another North Carolina somewhere? Yeah, I'd love to go to Texas. I've only been there once, and it was just in a layover for like an hour or two, so that's not a visit, right? I don't know why. I have it in my head. I want to get to Texas. It's calling me. Southend on Sea, Essex, England. Southend on Sea, Essex, England. Okay, I've only been to London. I was there about 45 years ago. It was a while ago. You know, when the dinosaurs were still roaming. Yeah. Okay, let's get going with your. I forgot to say this last time, but I just really want to say I really appreciate your support. I hit 1.3 million a couple weeks ago, and just over my social media platforms, and I'm just bowled over. I'm just absolutely stunned. You know, I came on TikTok on my own, just doing it, and I did it in the bathroom mirror, and it was just growing like crazy. Then I was sitting in a chair by my mirror over there, if you remember that, and then now I'm sitting here. But yeah, I just started in my bathroom mirror, started talking about parenting, and it just grew. I couldn't believe it. I was in a state of shock. And then my daughter came on board, and now she's working with me full time. So, yeah, but I didn't think anyone would want to watch me. I was shocked. I've been in business for about 20 years now, but most of it was referrals and schools and doctors, referring me. But yeah, I've never been big on social media until 2 years ago. So I'm extremely grateful for that. And I appreciate you spending the time doing these lives. Okay, thank you so much for your amazing videos and advice. Oh, you're very welcome. This is where I answer parenting questions, okay, aside from private coaching. But this is where I answer all the parenting questions. If you send me an email asking about, I can't answer all that. I just don't have time. What parenting books would you recommend? I've never read one. I only teach through my own personal experience with kids, and I've never written a book or anything. So I can't recommend. I don't know. I only teach what I know. I've never taken any advice from any adult ever. Kids taught me all this. Mostly, I would say the teenagers. I learned more working with delinquent teenagers than I've ever learned from anybody else in my whole life. I have patience out the wazoo, evidently. I didn't think I had any. But yeah, they taught me more about myself than anyone else ever has. So I just learned it all myself through kids. Yeah, I would like to write a book. I actually asked my daughter does all my social media and all my planning for the business. And I asked her, I said, can I write a book? And she goes, no. So, not the right time, Mom. She's got other plans. Yeah, she does all the planning. I hate planning. I hate being in charge. I like leading kids, but that's different. But yeah, she loves all that stuff. So she's very good at it. Yeah, so I'm not allowed to write a book yet. Teens. Yeah, teenagers are my favorite age by far. Once you learn how to work with teenagers or parent teenagers, they're actually the best because they're so developed, right? You can have like great conversations with them. I'm going to read out my top 4 tips for parenting teenagers. I added the last one recently. Number 1, listen to understand and show empathy. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with, or they will shut you out. If they want your advice, they're going to ask for it. And by the way, they already know it. Number 2 is you negotiate as much as you can with a teenager. It goes something like this. Hey, I want your dirty clothes in the hamper. What do you want from me? That reciprocity, it's showing respect. You got to give respect to get it. Number 3 is don't sweat the small stuff with teenagers. If they do something stupid and it's not a big deal, just say, well, that was stupid. Do you want to hear what I did when I was your age? And laugh it off. Or do you want to hear what I did yesterday? There's no shame in making mistakes in life. Just learn from them, hopefully. And number 4 is don't leverage the good times to talk about the bad times. A lot of parents make this huge mistake. I teach them how to connect with and bond with their teenagers. Then they'll be out somewhere with their teenager thinking everything's great. Then they bring up the past when their teenager did something wrong or hurt them. And then they can't figure out why they went backwards. I'm like, it's really frustrating. Don't leverage the good times to talk about the bad times. Let it go. And I always say with teenagers, the payback is when they have their own teenagers. You can just sit back and watch the show. It's a slow burn. You're going to have to wait a few decades, but yeah, that is when you get your own back. Like this is, I'm sure my son's not watching, but he's got a little girl and she's only 6 months old. I mean, she might have tantrums. I don't know. My son had them. And if she has a tantrum, if he even thinks about complaining to me about that, are you kidding me? Do you know what you did to me? So yeah, he wouldn't be watching this. Okay, I'm going to read this out. How to help my 2-year-old that smacks himself when he doesn't get his way or can't communicate. That is his communication. They're about actions. They're not about words. And you just physically restrain him. If he goes to hit himself, you say no and physically hold him. And don't look at him and talk to him about it. Just hold him. He'll eventually learn. They don't understand this stuff yet. They're just so, they're kind of crazy, right? So yeah, that is communication. And by the way, they never get, this is just a myth, is that they have tantrums and they get upset when they feel misunderstood. That is garbage. They could care less if you understand them if they get what they want. Think about it. So they've got the ice cream that they wanted, but they're talking and you don't understand them. Do you think they care? No. It's that the only thing that frustrates them is that, like toddlers, is that they don't get what they want. So they don't care if they can't communicate. They don't care if you don't understand them. They just want what they want, when they want, and how they want it. That's it. That I remember when I first heard that years and years ago. Oh, it was probably 50 years ago. And I thought, what a stupid thing. Who the heck said that? What toddlers act out when they feel misunderstood. I remember thinking, what idiots came up with that one? It's stupid. I was a kid. I was a teenager when I heard that. And even then I thought, that's the stupidest thing I ever heard. It's not the stupidest thing I ever heard, but I exaggerate. You know that by now. Okay. What should I be doing with my 3-month-old baby? Just meeting their needs and meeting their wants. I never put a baby down if they were crying, and I just did whatever they wanted. So you're just building that bond, right? That's all. Just meet their needs and meet their wants. When they get to be around toddlers, you meet their needs and you start managing their wants. But yeah, with babies, just as long as mom and baby and whoever else, as long as mom and baby are happy and healthy, that's sort of your goal. One thing I couldn't do that I really thought I kind of missed out on is, I have a bad back. I might not have been able to do it anyway. It was carrying my babies around, like when they were brand new, because I think that's wonderful. If you can carry them around on your back or on your front when you're walking around the house doing chores or whatever. And I couldn't do that because both my babies were summer Australian babies. So it was way too hot. You can't wear babies in Australia in the heat. And I would have done that if I had my kids in Canada. I would have done that. I would have carried them around on me all day. And yeah. I remember I did have a carrier for one of them, and we went out once on a dog walk with this carrier. We were both dripping in sweat. So I only used it once. Okay, what's the best course to invest in for toddlers? I don't really have a general toddler course. I have 4 mini ones, and then they're niche courses. I can't announce it yet, but I am working on something for toddlers. I'm not fighting it anymore because I always say I'll never do a course on toddlers because all I'm ever going to say is, yeah, they're just crazy. But yeah, there's obviously a lot more I can say because I'm always talking about them on here because my biggest audience is toddler parents. So, but in coaching, it's not. It's older kids. I am working on something with toddlers. I don't know when it'll be out. But yeah, that's what my daughter's got me working on right now. And she's in charge of all the planning. My kid listens to death metal. You mean like older kids? My son loved, when he was a teenager, loved video games and heavy metal music. I don't like video games. I don't like heavy metal music. Well, darned if I wanted to be connected with my son. So I took an interest in video games, but I never pretend to like something I don't, because that just is ingenuine and it doesn't work. So what I said was, hey, is there any game that you could show me that I might like? I did get into Crash Bandicoot, I admit that, but he'd outgrown that. But anyway, we both like Guitar Hero. So we would play Guitar Hero together. And then I didn't like heavy metal music, but he would find some stuff that I actually liked. There was a Scottish heavy metal band. I think it was the one that the guy would play upside down in that orb that would go around, the drums. Anyway, I ended up liking heavy metal music, and he also got me into NWA's Greatest Hits. I don't like any of their other albums, just that Greatest Hits album. I don't even want to say what that is again. You know, if you know what I just said, you'll know why I don't want to talk about it. But I used to have to play that. He made me a playlist of all this stuff, and I used to have to play it with the sunroof and all the windows up in my minivan because it's so filthy rude. But yeah, I opened my mind to that. I opened my mind and showed an interest in what my kids were interested in. You connect with kids in their world, not in yours. Don't expect your child or your teenager to find their inner adult. You find your inner child or your inner toddler or your inner teenager, and you show an interest in what they're interested in. That's how you connect with them. But be genuine about it. Like, don't pretend to like it. Okay. Okay, any advice for stepchildren that live 7-7 and resent stepmom and her children for living with dad? Okay, so that's 7 days, half and half. You got like split custody. I don't know exactly what you mean by that. But anyway, yeah, that would be coaching. I don't know your relationship. I don't know the relationship that you want to have with the stepkids or the step whatever. Some parents sometimes they want to be more of a friend. Sometimes they want to be more of a parent. So I don't know the relationship. And the biological parent would have to be involved in those coaching sessions. I do have a wait list for coaching, so there's no guarantees you'd get in for a while. But I did just open up a few spots recently because people have finished up with me. Plus, a lot of parents, they do really well, and then we bank the rest of the sessions. I'll say, well, look, we're only in session 3 or 4. You don't need me right now. So you're doing really well with what you're doing. So bank the sessions, and I'll just wait to hear from you. So I've got a few like that, too, which opens up coaching for me, for other people to come in. How do you make yourself a leader with toddlers 18 months and 2.5? You're not really a leader till they're about 3. It kicks in, especially 3.5. But yeah, you're building it. You're building the base for it right now, but you won't really see the results till they're about 3. That's the way it goes. You can sort of see snippets of it. Like I remember when my kids were babies and they were tossing and turning on the change table with dad, but not with me. Because they knew when I said, I'm going to be changing your diaper, they knew I was going to change it. Whereas dad might have said, okay, let's get a toy first. And he was more the pleaser. I was the leader. It's usually the way it goes. It works really well so long as you are on the same page. Like he never would have gone against me or vice versa, right? So, yeah. But so they can start to learn that. When you mean what you say and say what you mean, you follow through. Also play with them a lot. I played with my kids a lot. And when you enter their world, they tend to listen to you more. It's part of leadership is connecting. It's everything, actually. If you're not connecting, how can you lead? How can you discipline kids if you're not connected to them? So yeah, and when I was working with kids, that was my goal, was always to connect with them. 7-year-old boy says no to everything I ask him. Help. We're not fixing him. We're fixing you. Work on your leadership skills, and that won't happen. That's just a tell. It means he doesn't respect you. That's what that means. You got to earn that. You got to work for it. So you got to set yourself up as a leader, and that won't happen. They don't have attitude with a leader. They just don't. They want to please you. Between the ages of 3 and 12, that's my boot camp course. It goes for 5 weeks. It's mostly written, but then it's all backed up with tons of videos too, if you're interested. Anyway, that's the boot camp course. It's linked up above if you're interested. So it's a 5-week course, but it teaches you how to give respect to get it. Okay, you don't just expect to get it. You got to give it. You're on that behavior board. That's what makes it work. Yeah, I won't go on about that. But everyone's trying to, I'm obviously going to go on about that. Everyone wants to fix their kids, but that doesn't make any sense to me. You can't fix anybody else. You can fix yourself so that they respect you. You can be respected. Teach yourself how to be a leader so that your kids will respect you, but you can't change someone else. It's impossible. You can only change yourself. Once you're a leader, their bad attitude goes away. The attitude is the last thing to go, and it happens organically. You never address a bad attitude with a kid. It just means they don't respect you. That's on you. It just means you're not a leader. So once you're a leader, their bad attitude disappears. I managed to get respect with all the kids I worked with. Did I just get them on a good day? Was I fixing them? No, I came in as a leader. You lead, they will follow. It's a natural instinct for children to follow a leader. Between the ages of 3 and 12, that's when you're at the height of your leadership. That's when you're at the most powerful with your leadership, in that they want to please you because you make them feel good about themselves. So they want to please you. Teenagers, it shifts and changes a bit. You want them to become more their own leaders. We don't want obedient soldiers here, by the way. We want children who have high self-esteem, they like themselves, and they make good choices. They're accountable. That's what we're after. You don't want obedient soldiers. It's horrible. Okay. Sorry, I got to get going. I got a million things to do. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me. I just want to thank you again for all your support. I really do appreciate it. I started on social media a couple of years ago here on TikTok. And now I'm up to 1.3 million followers across my social media platforms. No one is more stunned than I am. I'm very grateful for that, and I appreciate your time. And it means a lot to me. It really does. And this is my passion. I've been doing this for about 20 years now, and I really believe in what I'm teaching because I know I'm helping parents. And if you don't like what I'm saying, move on to someone else. I'd rather you move on to someone else and do what they're advising rather than just listening to me, not liking it and not doing it. So it's better to take action of any kind than no action at all. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me, and happy parenting. Bye now.